Oh, welcome to the 109th episode of the Sawdust Nation podcast with your hosts with the most. My name's Nick from NPG Creations. We have Josh from North Country Woodworking and Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC. Tonight's special guest on the show is Victor Arajema from WIMM Designs. Check him out on Instagram if you want to know who we're talking about. But Victor, what's going on in your shop, man? First off, I got to say thanks for coming on. I know you've been a supporter of the podcast for a very long time. And what's going on in your shop?
I just want to thank you guys again for having me on. I just want to say that obviously the week after Matt Voeltner's, it's a little tough following that act. 20,000, views and likes and I'm
25,000.
25,000. My 625 will just have to try to live up to that. But what's going on in my shop? Let's see. I have a couple of things going on. One is I have a lot of stuff going on. I built a cart. Oh, sorry, Nick. I built a cart for the laser, so now I can move my laser around. I have another cart for the CNC. I took your advice, Josh, because I found that I was not going to be able to level my CNC, so now I can actually level it. So whatever progress I did have is back to the drawing board, but that's fine. I also built a milling station. So I have a cart now for a milling station that has a planer, joiner, belt sander, and 12-inch disc sander. I moved everything around in my shop. And this is...
You have 12-inch discs?
Yes, I do.
That's impressive.
Yeah, thanks.
I only have a 6-inch disc sander.
Really? Well, we'll have to talk after.
I think Naps is only 5.
A lot of stuff is going on. I've been trying to get caught up on my laser game. I started with the tiles, and I do want to get into some other stuff. Unfortunately, moving that laser, I have to realign everything. Nap, I'm definitely going to need your help because I went and purchased a Z probe, so now I need to set that up. I told you guys they didn't have a bed for my honeycomb line, so they offered me a rotary. So I will soon to be able to laser engrave mugs when I get them in. So that's also going on.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the wife just told me that she wants a little table for the couch, so I have to build that. And I don't even know how many other projects. And then I did actually speak to, I'm not going to say which one of the people in the podcast, but I did speak to somebody about making some shadow boxes. And I got an interesting email, which I will speak on later. But what's going on in your shop?
Okay, well, I won't go right into the shop right away, just talk about my day-to-day, actually. So, weird thing. So, typically in the military, or at least where I've been, you don't typically get a lot of time to go do things like state fairs or events that are going on in the state. But apparently here, we can practically shut down for a week, which there's still got little stuff going on, but we were able to enjoy the state fair today as an alternate duty location, which is pretty cool. So I got to take the family to the North Dakota State Fair. It's apparently a really big thing here. There's people from all over that come. There's so many RVs all over the place. They have like a whole camping ground and stuff like that. I mean, there was hundreds of people there today, if not thousands. There was an interesting event that had happened. So they have live bands and stuff. And I guess the first person that was supposed to perform was Kid Rock. And he had to cancel due to weather because last Friday, we practically had a tornado hit North Dakota. If you saw pictures out there or heard or saw anything like in the news or anything like that, this really odd formation that looked strangely like a tornado, which I don't think it was a tornado, but it was just some crazy winds kind of canceled that show. And yes, we hear you now. A fan fans got a little upset, started like actually rioting, and one person decided to charge the stage, and they got spear tackled from behind. My man, like there was no one on the stage, but the man rushed the stage and he got destroyed. So don't do that. I highly do not recommend that. But that was what today held for me. Going to that state fair was pretty cool. I ate a lot of junk food that you typically don't get at a store. So I feel pretty disgusted with myself, actually. But it was a good day overall. Right after that, I actually headed over to Menards, and Nick is gone. Hopefully he comes back and it shows him recording. Hopefully it don't have to start over. Oh, there he is. Cool. And he's recording again. I ended up picking up a bunch of PVC for my vac system, or my dust collection system for the garage. I was also able to acquire some lumber. So they do have lumber in random widths and lengths, which is pretty cool. So I was able to pick up some choice pieces for a lot cheaper than the stuff that was in plastic wrap. So funny thing is when you go like Home Depot or in those places, you get like the premium pine, premium oak, whatever. It's typically just bare. Well, this stuff actually has like a plastic wrapping around it. That's how premium it is. But there was some random lengths and widths that was like raw lumber you get out of a lumber yard, and I was able to get some of that cheaper, and it helped me fulfill some of the jobs I have. And speaking on lumber, I found a guy on Facebook. He has a really, really large
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is. Tell you what, had Nick not got me onto the marketplace when I was in Texas, I probably would have never even searched the marketplace for lumber. But it did. And there's a fella here that he has a pretty big shop. And I got to say, he embodies the maker's make in any space, whether it looks like a tornado hit it or not. My man makes custom game tables. Like we're talking like D&D, Magic the Gathering, all these things. And they're big tables. They have LEDs in them, plexi, all this stuff. You know.
Does he have a big garage to do this in?
So yes, he's got like, I want to say a 30 by 20, and then a small back room that's attached to it. So it's not like your typical square shop. Like if you look at Joey Steelblades, he's got like a big, rectangular shop. This guy has like a smaller rectangular shop with a square attached to the back of it. It almost looks like he added on as he went.
That's very cool.
But he mills his own wood for slabs. But he also goes down to Bismarck to pick up lumber because he picks up like thousands of board feet of lumber for his jobs. So he ended up having some stuff extra that he didn't need for any of his jobs that I actually bought off him. I bought up some mahogany. I bought a little bit of maple. All of his walnut was spoken for. When I say this dude had a rack of walnut, I'm going to say there's probably a few hundred board feet of walnut. He said he spent about $4,000 on walnut. No, that's a lot of freaking walnut. I don't think I could ever imagine buying that much, but his tables are pretty high end. So
what's the per board foot down there? Just out of curiosity.
So walnut per board foot at the 0 to 100 is like $18 from, and you go over 100 to, I think it's just over 100. It's like 16 maybe. And if you get like even higher, it starts to go down. So he gets it because he buys so much. He gets it like 13 a board foot. So
well, if he's using it
cheap.
and he's pricing his projects appropriately.
Yeah. What is it though? Is it 4/4 or what?
It's okay. So they do something different here. You don't get a lot of rough sawn wood here. It's all dimensional. It's already like it's what is it, the 13/16? So they're 4/4, 13/16.
So S2S though?
No, that's a difference.
Yeah, S2S.
All right.
And they have their 5/4, which would normally be 1 1/4 is, a 16th under that, 6/4 the same. So whatever you get, if it's 2 inches, it's 1/8 of an inch or whatever it is under, whatever that is. So that's how they sell their lumber here. They sell it in the 3 different grades as well. So they have like that stuff that has no knots in it. Some stuff that has a little bit, and then there's the other stuff that's just like riddled with whatever defects you can find.
Features.
Lumber. So yeah, features. We call those features. So I acquired some lumber there. So I'm able to fulfill all the jobs that I need to do. And now getting into the jobs. So I was talking about that OSI, our Office of Special Investigations shadow box. I ended up getting some 6/4 oak that I'll be able to join up together and go ahead and make that nice 3D facade and it not be too thin. It'll still have some weight to it, so that'll be nice. And then he also had like a couple offcuts that were like the perfect size for the actual box that goes behind it. And then I couldn't find any poplar that was random width and length, and I sure as hell wasn't going to buy premium poplar, okay, because believe it or not, here that stuff's pretty expensive when it's, wrapped in plastic and looks all pretty. So I'm going to go with yellow birch wood, because they're still a fairly light wood, and I'll be able to accomplish this shield for my old work center. I guess they're getting something made for a guy in one of the classes. So I'm working on that. It's going to require me to do a Jarvis dither for a person, as well as just regular fills for like the badges and stuff. So that'll be an interesting project that's underway. It's proving to be a little difficult because there's only 2 pictures that you can find on Google of said person that I have to laser engrave. So that's why it's a little difficult for that. I'm doing that K-bar display plaque. I'm going to do that out of mahogany because, I got 2 really large boards of mahogany that I can use. And then I have a 50-inch long coin rack. Now, I don't know why it's this length, but he showed me a picture of a cabinet. So it looks like this thing is possibly going to go inside a cabinet of some sort. I don't know. But whatever. That's what they want. I'm going to make that the way they want it. Then stain it gun stock with gun stock finish, or it's a stain color.
Stain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to stain it with that and then finish it with some white bond glossy poly. And that'll go out hopefully before the end of the month. And then let's see, that's those 4 things. I'm trying to think. My infrared heater for the garage is on its way to Stan, who's then going to ship it up to me from down there in Texas. So that'll be getting installed hopefully within the next few weeks. Got a guy across the street that's an HVAC guy. He's going to help me get that installed properly so that we don't blow myself up in the garage. And let's see. What other stuff? All right, so that's like what's going on in the shop. Now, as far as the business side of the house, so I was able to finally get all my paperwork done. And this right here, and I'm going to cover that number there. So this is my sales and use tax in Texas. I'm no longer a business doer in Texas. I can no longer do sales and use in Texas. This is my cancellation. I'm no longer a Texas. Well, I'm a Texas business, but I no longer sell through Texas. But now I sell through the state of North Dakota. So I am now official here. My sales and use tax permit should be approved this week, and it'll backdate to the 25th of July, which was yesterday, and I'll be official here, which is pretty awesome. It's actually very easy to do.
I have a question about that, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer. So with this new status, do you owe Texas anything for our taxes? Or are you just completely tied to the Dakota?
So I'm now just completely tied to Dakota because all my sales will be done through here or from here. Now, if I
didn't know if they were going to try to squeeze a dime or two out of you.
No, so because I've signed up as a foreign entity, Texas will, I guess, technically know, like their Secretary of State will know that I'm a business entity here, or, doing services abroad, if you will.
Yeah.
And as long as I have that paperwork, from my understanding, I'm good to go.
Cool.
Yeah. So that
was
really what's going on with the shop.
Seems a lot easier than you thought it was going to be.
Honestly, yeah, it really was. I thought the foreign entity thing was going to take forever. I literally submitted it one day and I had my certification the next. So it's pretty much as long as you're within good standing, you paid all your bills, you have nothing against your business with whenever they do their search, you're good to go. So there's that. The shop is officially sorted and put together, but there's still quite a bit to do. I'm thinking after I get a couple of these projects done, it'll be time for me to insulate and drywall the walls the rest of the way through. So that way, when the winter comes, my garage isn't an ice box, or at least. But yeah, that's really all that's going on in the shop. It seems like not so much, but it really is quite a bit. I'm just ready to go ahead and start making things again. So I'll be starting probably tomorrow on the first project, which will be that coin rack, because it's no CNC involved. What's up, Victor?
So on the shop, is there any of the walls insulated, or you have to do all of the insulation in the shop?
So some of the walls. So when I bought this house, maybe a quarter of the garage was finished with drywall and insulation. I didn't drop any plugs in there because I'm gonna tell you what. I ran my HDMI and Ethernet from my living room to my office into a switch that you so graciously helped me acquire, and it's wired into the wall here. In fact, switch goes from here to the wall. That one goes now all the way over to the garage, and I have everything Etherneted in here, hardwire, and everything out there is now Etherneted hardwire. And I'm gonna tell you what, that is by far the best and easiest, despite the routing, way to have good connection through everything without worrying about losing connection, any of that stuff. My laser actually functions at a higher level now. It takes like a split second for things to send to the laser. Like where before I was running just a straight Ethernet all the way to a cable box, which was then hooked up to Wi-Fi. So it's definitely a heck of a lot better than it was. And then the HDMI cables also run through the wall now, which, again, flawless there. There's nothing wrong there. I have no wires exposed, nothing hanging from the ceiling, none of that. It's just all coming from an actual wall jack now. So that's some of the things I've changed, I guess, from the last shop to this shop.
Sounds like you learned a lot from your last shop.
But yeah, the last shop, I will say, with lessons learned, well, then again, I can't really say lessons learned because I built my shop as I went. So I didn't have like a whole lot of room to just empty my garage and restructure. Being able to start 100% fresh coming here was a huge pro to moving my shop, because I was able to set it up the way I wanted to right out the gate rather than setting it up as I went. Now, for Nick, he's seen the shop, or at least the videos of the shop, and so have many others, saying how I have so much more room for activities. I do, but nothing's going to fill that empty room. I like my space. I'll actually have space to do things now.
I'll fill your holes.
I know you will, you weirdo.
You didn't say no.
But, no, I didn't say no.
I'm playing.
But yeah, and then I got
I'm not
Matt
an
from
absolute.
Wacky Works. Yeah, right. Matt from Wacky Works over there. He actually gave me some hints and tricks with the old dust collection and how I should actually do the PVC piping and all that. They were saying that all of the flex tube, it creates so much turbulence when you're powered up. So I'm reducing the amount of flex like as much as I can, because I still have to have a certain amount, so that way I can disconnect things, move them out of the way if need be. But the majority of it will be, and I'm going to say it, hard piped in the garage. So
Yep, title.
Hard pipe with. There we go. Show title.
But yeah, so a lot of good stuff. And we'll talk about some of the other fun stuff from the old IG here in a little while. But Nick, what's going on in your shop, bud?
I'm glad you asked. So I've been having a lot of work going on in the shop, pumping out those CNC plaques, pumping out shadow boxes. My head is spinning. Stuff is flying out the door so fast. But it usually goes in cycles to where like I have a bunch of stuff I'm building and I build it, and then ship it all out at once. Fortunately, I have a good timeline. I have a reliable shipping company that I'm going through, minus that one hiccup I had a long time ago. But things are going well. On top of that, though, I started messing with the old Instagrams. Took a page out of the old Matt Voeltner from Voeltner Woodworks. Is it Voeltner Woodworks or Voeltner Woodworking?
Voeltner Woodworking.
Well, regardless,
So
the
much
man
different-
is
There's so much different woods.
the man is a mad scientist, as Knapp said earlier. He has the formula for the algorithm down pat. I made this reel this week, and I went to bed. It was like 11:30 or something like that. I wake up, 34,000 views. I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? So I'm just trying to ride that wave. keeping content flowing, get the creative juices flowing. I came up with a couple different reels. So far, nothing's completely bombed since that big one that I had, but nothing's actually blown up like it before. But I'll tell you what, India sure does love me. Got a whole bunch of followers from India too. It's fantastic.
Until Instagram tells you can't use the music, and then it's just you awkwardly in the background.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you're right, but still, I mean, it's nice. I feel loved when people watch my videos.
I see more reels, more stories from all of you. So, I mean,
So, what do you think about that? Well, you like reels or not?
I mean, I do like reels. I'm sorry. I think it's like anything else. It's that scrolling, that instant. The one thing, and I'm going to bring up, I know you guys talked a lot about it last week, but I'm going to bring up Matt's reel there. It was quick. We got a lot of information. And what I liked about it was when I was looking at it going, oh, I want to make that, or, oh, I like that for the shop. And it had a lot of information in a short clip. And I think that's the biggest thing. Now, yours, Nick, you had more of a comic, tone to it, but it was something that I could see people liking. Now, I think personally, if you did something more with the shop, you might end up with more of the views than what you had on that one. Just from what I saw from an outsider looking in at both reels, I think that one was more informative. And Matt, by
definitely.
the way, I'll take the check shortly. No, nothing. Nothing.
What do you guys, before we get into Josh's shop, what do you guys think of? What do the rest of you guys think of the reels? Do you think it's degrading Instagram? Or do you think that it actually enhances the experience?
Josh, do you want to take it first?
Sure. So I think reels are a tool like anything else in Instagram, and get information.
I think you're a tool, but
no. I think it's a tool utilized correctly can get you the follower count and get you, where you want to be as an influencer. As a viewer, it's more, I would rather go to TikTok than most of TikTok and Instagram, they're the same stuff. It's just whatever. But I mean, I do like the classic pictures or stories or the way that's presented, because like a picture, I can sit there, I can take a look at it, I can study whatever they did. And there's more meat to it. I feel like the reels, where the smaller time segments work, you don't get a lot of information from that. I'm not looking for a YouTube video, but I'm looking for like a jig. Someone uses a jig and they want to showcase it, and they actually do a reel of like them using it and like the different features. And it might take more than 10 seconds. I'm going to get more from that as a viewer than I am a 3-second, blurb about whatever. So I guess to answer the question, I think depending how they're used, if you're going for influencer, then you do what you need to do to get those numbers. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. If you're going for as like a teacher or trying to inspire, I think the longer ones may not do as well, but they are going to actually pull in the people that are trying to learn. Like I said, I don't hate them. I think sometimes they're overdone, but I mean, like that's what's big right now, and that's the game we have to play. So, Nap.
So right now, as far as what you're saying about how like some of it's like really good and geared towards like influencer and things like that. So I was toying around with Instagram as far as the different types of accounts, and I ended up putting as creator rather than business, because I'll be able to see my insights in those things, but I also won't be slashed at like the music and stuff that I can use. So I use it as, the influencer part, but also I'm actually trying to push to get more followers. I mean, let's just be frank, because I want people to see what I do and maybe reach out to me more, which that seems to be the way to do it, is make random videos. Like I put a couple out that were not necessarily maybe informational, but just random. For example, like the curly cherry one I put up, Like that thing got 287 likes, and it was just me wiping down a piece of curly cherry. Like that was just just to get some views, get some likes, get some followers. And actually, since I've been posting more reels of just random thing, and not even just random, a lot of it is shop setup. Some of it's older things that I've done that I haven't posted before. But a lot of my shop progress is where I'm getting more questions. I did, and this was at the advice of Matt again from Wacky Works. I started a YouTube, and I started putting shorts up just to kind of like you do with the reels and stuff. I won't do TikTok just because TikTok, and don't mean to quote from other folks, but it's meant for people to just go lip sync and do crazy things, right? I'm not into the whole lip syncing thing. I feel like I would look personally really dumb doing it, so I just won't do it. I'll just use sound bites to put behind my stuff. But I'm going to start doing informational videos on YouTube. But right now I'm just doing shorts and things like that. But as far as
have you ever been
reels,
on TikTok?
I have. Some of it is
like I don't know what you're talking about, but
there's a lot of stuff that's not informational for what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, I use TikTok to get away from like Instagram, just as like a, like laugh and stuff like that.
It's like more of a.
There isn't like, it's funny stuff. Yeah, that's like
yeah.
But like for me personally, like Instagram, when I'm looking at the reels, a lot of the reels I see because it's what I look up is woodworking stuff. Different.
Oh, absolutely. But like even on across all platforms, you're gonna have that stuff. So I mean, I'll let you finish now before I go.
But with me just being geared towards the woodworking side on Instagram, I'm gonna see more of stuff that's woodworking maker related. On TikTok, I mean, I'm watching like really stupid videos that has nothing to do with woodworking. So that's like Josh was saying, the comic relief and just getting away from Instagram. But I do think it does help. I am going to probably dial down on the reels a little bit, but I am trying to saturate my page right now. I'm trying to make a push. I'm trying to hit 1,000 followers before the end of this year, which could happen. I don't know.
You believe it, man? Once you start, opening that flow, you're going to actually hit 1,000 quicker than before the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Right, Victor?
Exactly. Where have I heard that? Yeah.
But I mean, the past 6 reels I've put out have all had. See, when I first started pushing reels, okay, they were 4,500. They tapped out around there. And then I got 6, 5, 6, and 5. But a lot of likes, I've got more followers from it because I've been constantly posting and trying to ride that wave.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of as Nick was saying. So, I mean, it is I guess you put into it what you're trying to get out of it. And right now for me, it's just followers and creating content at the moment. So.
I don't have TikTok. But
what's up?
What's the difference? I don't have TikTok, but what's the difference? I mean, I personally don't see a difference.
Reel and a TikTok are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
So
Instagram's trying to compete with TikTok.
Okay.
All right. So there's a place for everything inside each application. I think Instagram probably has the best variety because you can post just pictures. And you can post videos without being a reel, and you can post reels. You can also go live. You can also have like your messenger in there and all that stuff. So overall, I think it's probably the best platform, which was not the question. The question was, what do I think of the reels? Well, I think the reels it's a new age thing that is catching on really fast. And I enjoy them. I enjoy watching other people do projects, like film their stuff, build stuff, and or be stupid, whatever. I mean, I'll sift through it. It doesn't threaten me. I'm not threatened by it. I think that if you are so hard up against it that you probably need to open your mind. Stop thinking so obtuse. That's a line from Shawshank Redemption, but stop being so obtuse. Open your brain, expand your abilities, and make something out of it. Like like you don't have to like everybody's stuff. You don't have to watch everybody's stuff. You don't even have to watch reels. Honestly, I don't watch reels. Like just sit there and scroll. I don't do that. I'll do that on TikTok. But when I make a reel of my projects. I'll do like, panning views and like whatever, like my signs and stuff like that, or dancing to the music or whatever, like coordinate it. Cool, right? But it gives a potential customers, it gives people who want to see my stuff 360 view of what I make, not just a flat picture. So you can hide a lot of stuff in a flat picture, by the way. I'm just saying, we've all done it. You got that one nick on that project and you just turn it ever so slightly and snap that picture and post it, right? Yeah. So I'm just saying. Or you have that one joint that's not quite attached all the way. You just turn that little thing and snap the picture. So
I love those butt joints.
I think this is coming from.
I'm just saying there is a place for it in the maker community. I like the way this is going, and I see a lot of potential with it. But at the same time, I mean, if you don't like it, don't do it. You got plenty of other options to use. You can just post pictures if you want. So anyway, that's all. I'll get off my soapbox now. I'll just step down and ask Josh what's going on in his shop.
I mean, let's be honest. Most people are doing it to get followers.
What are you doing, dude?
I mean,
what am I doing? I have no idea. What you're trying to say is you want a third eye. Okay? You need to open your third eye so you could actually do the reels, right? Is that what you're trying to say, Nick?
Absolutely.
Now that should be
that
real.
Was good, though. That was one hell of an addition.
I was wondering. I'm like, is it a bag of chips? What is it?
No, he found a bag of helium and just huffed a little. Okay.
Yeah, but
that's a bag of America right there.
We're gonna say that
I didn't
later.
Yeah, we'll do the outro with that. Okay. Next podcast, guys. Every one of us is gonna get a helium balloon and do the outro. Okay.
I already have a helium tank, man. We could do this.
Oh Jesus! This is
all right. Josh, what's going on in your shop, man?
I'm sorry, but I had to. You were talking about opening your mind. I'm like, okay. I haven't been all that busy. I've been busy, but not necessarily in the shop. It's been like 100 plus degrees here, and it's been so bad we've actually put tinfoil on the windows in the front to cool it off in the kids' rooms at night because it's pretty hot. So we got that heat wave, and I've been in the shop when it's that hot before, and no matter if you open the doors or close them, you just can't get away from the heat. So I took a couple of days off this weekend and spent time with the family, doing fun stuff with the kids, and working on my website. It is officially live and ready to go. And I do have a discount code for my shadow boxes on there, AUG10 for 10% off until I think it's the second week of August as a grand opening kind of discount. So I am super excited about that. That took a lot more work than I thought, but you know what? For the most part, it's good. I'll be doing some adjustments as I go and get feedback from clients. But I am happy about it. Like, it has everything I want in there. It has a page dedicated right to the podcast. And because that is a huge part of of all of our lives here. So I wanted to make sure that was on there and a way to share that. So I'm pretty excited. You can check it out at www.northcountryww.com. But now that's all done and said with. I got in the shop today and yesterday, and I cleaned up kind of yesterday, got some things ready. Almost done with a cornhole board there. I just really have to do some sanding and the vinyl and then seal it up. So that's going to be for Marine family. I'm pretty excited. I like the vinyls. I do. Not only are they a lot easier than painting because I've done that. I think they look great. They just do. So I can't wait to get those complete and knocked out. But I did a project where I kind of talked the client into something new, at least new for myself. So they wanted like an 18 by 12 plaque laser etched of like the tower and aircraft taking off and like aircraft taxiing. And it's for their wife that's getting out of the military on the 30th. He's asking to give it to her tomorrow. So when this launches, well, it'll be safe to be out there. But he originally wanted just laser, and I was talking to him about it, and that's the way we're going. And as I'm designing it, I sent him the mock-up. And I called him. I'm like, look, I could do more with this if you want. I could do this with acrylic and do pieces, kind of piece it together, or I could do pieces of wood and kind of contrast it in such a way where it's layered and it looks like pieced together. So we went with that. That's more his wife's style, and I finished it this afternoon, and my wife really likes it. She says it's one of the better pieces I've done. It was nice. The laser definitely came into play with this. I designed everything myself. There was no buy this SVG or picture. I basically drew the tower and everything else with it and Lightburn. And the only thing that was taken was a SVG of the KC-10. I did that because I was engraving that. But the rest of it was hand-drawn and off other stuff. So I was pretty proud of that. It took a lot longer than normal for my designing process, but there was nothing I could find that met what I was looking for. So I took a real life picture and I traced it out. So yeah, that took a minute, but I learned a lot doing it. And then on top of that, I think it's going to actually come into play. Hopefully I'll have more orders like this because I really liked it. I can show it to you real quick.
So I gotta say, man, that's a pretty good use of layering right there. Like the different levels, like that's good,
I wanted to use more variety of wood, but as I was getting into it, I realized that like if I'm using something for shadow or for the background, I wanted to kind of stick with walnut because the darkness of walnut, and then I wanted to get the cherry, and I used maple for the KC-10 in the front, and I really wanted to do it, and I kind of talked him into it, and I showed him a picture, which I normally don't take a progress picture and send it to the client, especially like if they don't ask, I just don't. But I sent one to him, and he's like, I can't like yields. That's beyond what I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, I'm not even done yet. It was half done at that time. So I'm pretty happy with it. I definitely would like to do one for myself eventually, maybe something else, but
You know what you could do? You could batch those suckers out, make a killing.
well, we'll see how this goes over. That's how like a lot of my business happened, at least since I started, is I do something like this that's new, and I send it out there, and I get more orders. So I already got the files for it. I could change up the planes, no problem, and the rest of it's pretty easy. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. I like I said last podcast, I'm trying to get my clients to go past the normal just engraving or just this or that. I'm trying to, venture out and do some new stuff. I actually have a project for a good friend of mine that's retiring due Friday I'm working on. And that it's not going to be necessarily a bunch of new stuff, but it's definitely going to utilize some of the stuff I've learned along the way in corporation, along with some 3D printing. So that's going to be pretty cool. I already kind of set it all out. I designed it. I just need to get it engraved and worked on. And I got the 3D printer will be going so as to get some more filament because I ran out. Let's see. Always makes me nervous because I'm afraid they'll want to change something mid-project. Yeah, progress pictures can be dangerous. I actually got this job based on the fact I sold a piece to someone in my office, and they saw that, and then they're like, hey, I didn't know you did woodworking. Can you do this? And it just kind of led down this path. But so yeah, that's the two big things that happened today. I released my website. It's now out there for everyone to take a look at. And then I got this project knocked out. And I tell you, it was fun. It was really fun putting together. I had to figure some stuff out. I did some stuff with the laser I never thought I would do. Like I actually cut the tower piece out as one solid cherry piece. And then realized in order to look right, I had to actually put it back and have the laser cut it in that shadow. And that way I could piece it together. So, I did an outline of it on a scrap piece of wood, and I put the cherry piece down, and then I cut the actual cherry piece where I needed. And I've learned a lot of different techniques in the last day or two doing this project that is going to carry forward and help me. So that alone added value. Now alone doing something completely new. I've never done anything like that. So Moving on, I think I'll be pretty much caught up. I have a couple different things I am needing to catch up on. I have some projects that I need to do. Those get to when you have time projects. But it's weird because I go through these lulls. Like I'll get to completion or get to the end of like a bunch of projects, and I think that my schedule looks clear, and it just picks right back up.
Wrong.
Yeah, so
You thought wrong.
I'm at the point now where I just got a new project the other day. It was from the squadron. It's a going away gift for our first cert, and it's a shovel. I'm doing a display for a shovel.
Oh no, not another one.
Gentleman likes to garden, so if you remember the rifle project that I did the display for, it's gonna be something similar to that. It's gonna go on a backer, and they could take it off and go ahead.
I remember the last shovel project you did, and that debacle of trying to find all those shovels. Remember
this
that?
one's different. Yes, I mean, like that was a pain because, well, I messed up one letter in the name, and it just was in the middle of the name, and I actually had that shovel. I used it this weekend. I did the front. I was using it, and I'm like, it's one of those mistakes you just don't forget because it lives in your shed. But this, I won't be doing any engraving on the actual handle. I'll be doing something on the blade. The blade is painted black, so I'll be doing the squadron patch on there. So no spelling I have to worry about there. I'm just going to go ahead and engrave that on there. And then the rest of it will be in a nameplate and stuff like that. So not too bad of a project. I'm actually looking forward to doing it because, it's a box with a frame, some holders for the shovel, a couple engravings, and I'll be able to get that knocked out and get it to him. And the guy I'm doing it for is one of the better shirts I've ever had. So even though he's not particular in mine, but so that's pretty much what I have in queue. I'm waiting for the last minute projects to show up and stuff like that. But the end of August and a little bit in the beginning of September, the family and I are going out to my camp. We're going to be doing some family time up there, some fishing, and kind of get away from everything. So I'll either do a remote recording or maybe we can work out something so we do a little earlier. But that's about it. Like I said, the biggest things are the website and this latest project. I have some other things I have in mind that I'll be doing here in the near future, especially if I do get a lull, to try out different techniques and stuff. Because my spare time, like if I've been watching a lot of older movies like Swiss Family Robinson and stuff like that. And I've seen them 100 times. So I'll be sitting there and thinking about, depends which version you watch there, Victor. There's like 3 different versions.
No, you said old. That's what...
older movies.
Hey, Victor was in that first movie.
I know. I saw him.
That's right.
Played the father.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, man. No. So this is kind of like the theme. I got to a point where I was doing a lot of the same stuff, and I'm really trying to find out and see what I could do with the machines I have, because I got a great laser now. There's no excuses there. I got a CNC machine that's working. Yeah, it's not the best and greatest thing out there, but I can make do and do a lot with it. So yeah, we're going to see what we could do. And hopefully some new stuff comes out every week.
Speaking of new stuff, I hate to recommandeer the airwaves, but the TS55 is back, baby. I just upgraded my Makita track saw, so I thought I'd tell you guys.
Yeah, no, see, I saw you put that up on the old marketplace.
You saw it?
I'm surprised it took you that long.
Come on.
What's your radius around there set for? Like 50,000 miles?
States.
I think it's still set to Texas, actually.
It's just Nick's house.
Yeah, I'm watching Nick.
He wants to get a good deal.
No, so the best part about it is I started a woodworking community page in my subdivision. So my subdivision is pretty massive. So I got woodworkers all over the different parts of my subdivision who join the page, and when people want to sell tools and stuff like that, it's right in the neighborhood. So you don't really have to worry about if somebody's not coming to get it. I mean, they pretty much, these people I do, because I see them at the pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing to start. a lot of people out there do a little bit of woodworking. It's amazing the amount of people that'll stop by as they're walking by and they'll ask, what I'm doing. And they'll say, yeah, I kind of dabble. I'm like, you know what? I know a podcast that you would love.
Yeah, dude. I'm a creeper, though. When I drive past, like if I'm in a residential area and I see garages open and I see like a table saw and stuff like that in there, I'm like, oh, let me see how in depth this person is. If they have a planer, then I'm like, all right, then I know they're serious about it, or at least they're semi-serious about it. So if I see them out in the garage, I'm like, hey, you do some woodwork, and I've met a few people that way. I met Josh that way.
I definitely same. No, you bought something for me. That's how you met me.
Correction, my wife bought something from you. I came to pick it up.
Still your money.
He's like,
that's debatable. That's debatable.
But
anyway,
yeah, that's actually we went down that road at some other time, but Nick and I ran into each other because I redid a TV stand or something like that, and his wife bought it. He came down and saw the shop, and we started BSing, and that's
it was like that scene in Step Brothers. It's like, do we just become best friends? Yup.
Pretty much.
Yep.
So, we have any questions by any chance?
We do. My wife submitted a question, believe it or not. She listens to the podcast and she does quite a bit of work in the shop now. So she's getting into a little bit of the, wondering what's going on. So she saves it for the podcast. So let's see. If you wanted to try a new project, but it was something you had never done before, does that affect the price? Maybe just charge for materials? Similar to how new photographers do free photo shoots to build their portfolios.
Yes. Yes. It's usually more expensive because I have to design the thing now. What about you, Victor?
Well, I believe that it's definitely not going to be as much as it would be if I had experience, but it shouldn't be free either. This idea that you just buy the material and have somebody pay for the material, I mean, you still have to at least get paid for your time. I understand that in the beginning, everybody wants to, give a good deal because they feel that their skills aren't up to snuff, but you still need to get paid. Because if you go down that road, then everything becomes, oh, can you do this for me? Oh, it's, friends and family discount, that type of thing. At least that's what I see.
I like that point you just made. In the words of the judge off every Law and Order episode, it's a slippery slope. So what do you guys think?
So if I've never done anything like it before, it usually costs more because I usually have to get more material because I'm not planning as efficient as something I've done 1,000 times. Time wise, like a lot of times, like when a client comes to me with that I've never worked with and they come with a squadron patch and it's not in a PNG SVG format, I charge them to get that done professionally, or I do it myself, but usually I charge them a little extra because that's extra time. I ask for the file. You can't provide it. I will charge you for it. And then actually the New Jersey plaque, I think I posted today, was for the judge advocate on here on base. I asked for a file. They sent a JPEG and I said, okay, the price is this. And when I delivered it, I'm like, sir, if you buy any more from me, the price reduced to this because now I have this designed and I just have to replace names. So they understand, I'm transparent. I let everyone know, like, I'm not going to charge you something and not tell you what it is. It saved me in the past and that's just how I am. Like I said, I let them know I charge them more and the next one they get from me will be $20 less or whatever I charge for that design fee, depending on the project. But, is it unfair that they have to bite that bullet? It depends who you ask. Because like that office now can get a cheaper product from me from now on. So that was actually a kind of funny delivery. I didn't know that I was talking to the commander of that little shop there, and because he hit me up on Instagram, so I'm like, yeah, man, cool, I'll stop by, whatever. I'm like 5 minutes away from where I work, and I said, hey, I'm stopping by, and I walk in, I'm like, hey, is Billy Bob here? And they're like, because I didn't know his rank, and they're like, you mean Commander blah 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 blah, Colonel? And I'm like, yeah, that guy. And I'm wearing my uniform, and they're just looking at me like, so Yeah, it was kind of interesting thing. He came out like we're best friends, and his secretary was confused, really confused. But because there's two different hats. You guys probably wear these hats too. Like there's the business side where I don't care who you are, you're a client, and we're gonna interact that way. And then there's the military side where I guess sir, whatever. But it's a fun line to walk some of these deliveries because like you deliver to colonels and generals and all these higher ranking people, and like the interaction is completely different than the normal reason you'd be seeing them. So it was
been
fun.
there, man.
Yeah,
I've definitely been there, especially when I'm selling tools. And when I lived on base, people would be like,
yeah.
"Hey, can I come get it now?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, come on over." And next thing you know, it's like a full bird walking up your driveway. You're like, "Oh, snap! Yeah, here you go, sir."
By the way, I added $100 because you have.
Yeah, so we took a look at your pay scale and we went ahead and prorated it for you.
Wouldn't that be something? Charging people on their pay scale.
Yeah, but you'd be giving a whole bunch of free stuff away to the little privates and A1Cs.
I actually I went through my shadow boxes, and because I have the website, I have so many different variations I can add to that. And I went through and I had a question for you guys on this. I started at E5 and went all the way up. Should I have went lower and added, E4, E3, E2? I thought it'd be a waste.
It kind of is at that point. You could always put in like custom as an option.
I put other.
Other.
With the materials, I put other, and I say $0, and I say contact me for a price point. That way, they can choose what they want. They could buy it. I see they buy it, and then I can send them a private invoice with exactly what they want.
Absolutely, that's the way to go, man. Because you're not going to get too many like E3s and E4s retiring. I think I've only done one E4 shadow box, and that was for a guy who got out and he just wanted something to put his stuff in.
No one's going to be retiring at those stages, but getting out, maybe they want something to remember their two bases or basic.
So that's another thing. Like how you have your shadow boxes cataloged. You know how the different designs you have. I started naming my designs this way. When I invoice people and I see the name of the shadow box, I don't have to take a wild guess or do any. It really takes a lot of the guesswork out, or a lot of the potential to make the wrong shadow box out of the equation. And I usually name it after somebody I've already made it for that I know. So this way, I have the Graves model, and that was the model I made for the guy that was the actual wrong shadow box, the one he didn't want. But I named it after him. So I know now. I think Victor might have. I sent Victor some files. Or no. Somebody I know sent Victor some files. You want to go into that, Victor?
Yeah. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah. No. Please enlighten me.
Was that a famous? I'll tell you. I was looking at that file, Nick, and I wasn't sure. I looked at it. I said, "Wait a minute, who sent me this?" And then I looked at the name, and I read it out loud, and then it took me about 3 seconds. Okay, see if you guys can guess.
That's Nick.
Yeah. So Victor was like, "Hey." I was like, "Victor, you should try your hand at some shadow boxes because there's a huge market for it up there in New Jersey, And he's like, "All right, send me some vectors." So I sent him some vectors, but I made an custom email address, just to see if I would get a reaction. And I forgot about it. And then he reminded me about it. But gmail.com. So
how many Gmail accounts do you own?
Probably 30 or 40. But so I between Cherry, Barry, and I have plenty. And so it's great for. I don't know if you guys actually know this, but it is a cider company. They do make apple cider, and they're out during the October timeframe. But they have a lot of different variations of their cider. I prefer a hot, but I'll stop.
Okay, I got to hijack the podcast for a second. Anybody out there and I know all of you, you know this person, Joey Steelblade. If you want a hat, I just had him take my logo, put it on a hat, came out wonderful. And I know a couple of you guys definitely need to start having your own designs on hats, because I
Wait.
know people out there would buy them, and I know somebody that could definitely get you
Are they snapbacks?
those hats. Well, what other kind would you have, Nick?
All right, you're right. You're right.
I mean, seriously, that's, but yeah, no, excellent work. And like I said, I originally bought one of his, and then I asked him to take my logo and put it on his hat. Came out beautiful. So just a thought for anybody that's looking to sell hats.
Did you happen to put it on your Instagram?
I have not. I do have to put it up there, and I will put it up there in the next day or so.
Awesome. I want to see it.
I apologize. I apologize, Joey. I was going to wear it tonight, and I forgot to bring it with me.
Well, there you have it. Joey Steelblade. He was on the podcast not too long ago. Jack of all trades. That dude is always doing something different in the shop.
Unbelievable. Exactly.
So
I don't know where he finds the time to do it.
I don't either.
We all find time to get in the shop, and we do all these amazing things. But that's why we're makers, because we make it happen.
Making it happen. We got any more questions? Actually, my wife sent in a question, and she writes, Dear Sawdust Nation podcast, Nick specifically, when are you coming in from the garage? The answer is never. I'm sorry. I will be out here. I will be out here burning the midnight oil every evening. I'm sorry.
Never. We're never going in.
God, you have like a maniacal voice with the helium there.
Are we buttoning her up? What are we doing?
Yep. Go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, wrapping it up. All right, so Sawdust Nation podcast is brought to you by PWN CNC. Check them out at pwncnc.com for all of your aftermarket CNC dust boots and spindle kits and all that stuff. For 10% off, use promo code SawdustNation981. And that's off everything on the site. That's not just off one item or the other. Are you okay? You doing something over there? Okay. Anyway, and we also like to thank Totalboat. Thank you, Totalboat, for your continued support. If you want a 10% off promo code, by the way, our promo codes did expire for a minute, but we will, they're back in action now. So go ahead, hit us up. We'll hook you up with that promo code for 10% off your order at Totalboat. We're affiliates of OMTech. If you're looking for that laser, we'll get you squared away. Give us a call, give us a shout out in the email or in the DMs, and we can point you in the right direction on which laser is right for your shop. Also, last but not least, Makerstock. Makerstock.com. Nap just made a huge order at Makerstock.com and saved some money with our promo code. Yeah, so if you want to save 10% off your initial order at Makerstock.com, use promo code Sawdust10. And we'll kick it on over to Nap now.
Yeah, so if you're listening to us on the old Apple Podcast, Spotify, whatever it is you listen to the podcast on, go give us 5 stars. And if you don't give us 5 stars, tell us why you didn't give us 5 stars. Because if you don't tell us why, we can't give you the content that you deserve. But hey, just because you didn't give us anything lower than 5 doesn't mean you still can't leave us feedback. Whether it be questions for the podcast, maybe topic ideas, whatever the case may be. We typically get around to all questions unless, of course, we go on rants or, whatever it is. Like last time, we went over quite a bit because we did a lot of good content and a lot of good talking. So, and we'll revisit them on the next episode if we don't get to them. So if you do want to get a hold of us, Josh, how do you do that?
Well, you can get a hold of Victor over here on Instagram. Go ahead and search at WIMM Designs, and you can look him up, follow him, see what he's up to, and it's definitely worth a follow. If you want to get a hold of us from the podcast, you can do it from Sawdust Nation Podcast. You can reach out. It depends who you're going to get a hold of, but that's half the fun. If you want to reach out to Nick, you can do it from MPG Creations. And then you got Nap from Nap's Naughty Works, LLC. Myself, Josh, from North Country Woodworking. And then if you want to reach out an email, you can do it from sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com. And there you can reach out and do voice clips and ask questions for the podcast or topic ideas. Or you can do the easy thing and become a Patreon. Patreon, 3rd tier, you can join us in the live recordings. You can actually ask us questions, add to the conversation, and give us topic ideas. And we got a thumbs up from Victor because he is actually a Patreon himself. So thank you for being a Patreon. And yeah, with that, final words. Victor, what do you have? But
Final words is just go out and help a maker. It doesn't necessarily have to be, money or it could just be your time. All three of you have helped me somewhere in some fashion. So, just be a member of this community and help somebody. That's all I have. You guys?
Definitely reach out to us, just like so many of you, or how we've reached out to many of you all out there in the community, because, the only way we make this community stronger is if we keep helping each other out and, not pushing people away when they do ask for help. Other than that, keep taking care of each other. Nick.
Well, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, folks, the only difference between is one makes your whole day, the other makes your whole week.
Again, thank you for joining us for the 109th episode of Sawdust Nation podcast. We truly enjoy you joining us and listen to us whisper in your ear while you're making coffee and going to work, in the shop, mowing your yard, wherever you're listening to us. Thank you for listening. We truly do appreciate it. And thank you, Victor, for coming on and dealing with our nonsense this episode. But we do appreciate you coming on. With that, Sawdust Nation is signing out. Go make some sawdust, and Sawdust Nation out.
All right, that's all I got. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Gotta find a new one, man.
All right.
Really? Got nothing else?
I do, but they're very, very not tastefully for the podcast. They're beyond what I normally do.
Fair enough.